But first, let's talk about what's happening behind the counter. Actually, this week, we got just a couple of quick follow-ups to stories that we have covered in other places. I mean, first of all, this one we've covered a dozen times. In November, Eli Lilly received approval from the FDA to market Zepbound, a once-weekly injectable to help overweight and obese patients to lose weight. And if that seems like something you've heard before, it's because you have. You see, back in 2017, Novo Nordisk created semaglutide, which was released as Ozempic, a once-weekly injectable to help type 2 diabetics treat their A1C. Because of how it works in the body, it also helped people to lose an extraordinary amount of weight. And so in 2022, the FDA approved Novo Nordisk to sell that same drug, semaglutide, under a different name, Wegovy, a once-weekly injectable to help people that are overweight and obese lose weight. Then in 2022, Eli Lilly got in on the fun with a new drug they created called tirzepatide. It's a once-weekly injectable helping people with type 2 diabetes to reduce their A1C. And now the FDA has approved that same drug under a new name and a super fun name to say, let's be honest, called Zepbound. A once-weekly injectable to help overweight and obese patients to lose weight. We've talked about these drugs a bunch, and obviously we're going to keep talking about them because this is a big deal. They're on. You don't often hear about headlines, see drugs in headlines, but this is all over the place. They are both effective and highly controversial for a lot of folks. Whether or not you should consider taking them, that is a conversation you need to have with your doctor. We are not giving advice here on this show for that sort of thing. We're just sharing the news, right?
That's right.
And in a follow-up to an episode just like last episode, the one before, about hormonal birth control, the FDA has approved Opill, a progestin-only daily hormonal birth control pill. And that won't be big news, except that they've approved it for over-the-counter sales. This is the first hormonal contraceptive available without a prescription. That means women will no longer have to establish care with a doctor, pay for office visits and copays and all that jazz. They can walk in and pick it up in any drugstore, just like Band-Aids or hydrogen peroxide or Alka-Seltzer or whatever else you might want. While this is a mini pill and it won't work for all women, about 40% still ovulate with the progestin-only pill, according to their publicity. For those that it does work for, this should make things much easier and cheaper. Are you guys, I guess you guys will have it in store when it's actually on shelves, right?
Yeah, it's probably not going to be at least available to us from our wholesalers until 2024. But I would imagine it's something we'll look into because I am curious even as far as the costs to us and the cost to, patients and customers. That will be interesting because even though access to contraceptives and contraceptive counseling and all that sort of thing, depending on the individual's demographic, their financial situation, socioeconomic status, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I know that access varies a little bit.
Sure.
But there are laws, and the Affordable Care Act basically, guarantees coverage of these preventative services for women. So it's on one hand, it's good. You could argue that it's good that it's going to be available over the counter. A version that has less side effects, less to worry about, more accessible. You can skip the doctor's appointments and the whole gamut of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I assume that you're going to have to pay a certain amount of money to purchase it over the counter versus if you had insurance, if you went to see your doctor, that would be covered under that legal umbrella.
I didn't even think about that. So depending on the person, it may or may not actually be cheaper to buy it over the counter.
Sure. Yeah. And that would be something that maybe somebody could prove me wrong on. I don't know. Maybe there will be some sort of coupon reimbursement, something that you can, or if you have an HSA account or some way to be reimbursed for purchasing this over the counter. I'm sure they'll try to incentivize that in some way.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm wrong.
This being a new drug, is it going to have that air quotes new drug? Is it going to have that new drug premium on it? Because it's not yet a generic, right?
Yeah, I think because the because the active ingredient, the active drug product has been around for such a long time.
Yeah.
I see that this probably working a little differently.
It's true. There's a lot of competition. It's not like they're the first on the market. They're just the first over the counter hormonal birth control.
Mm-hmm. And with that said, factoring in the Affordable Care Act and those sorts of regulations over women's preventative services,
right?
Considering that, it wouldn't be in the best interest of those who developed Opill to charge $522 for an over-the-counter product.
That makes sense.
When theoretically somebody can get it for $0 if they follow the different steps to get it that way. So I assume it's going to be competitively priced.